If you've always wanted a Volkswagen GTI but craved a little more performance, the Volkswagen Golf R has been satisfying that quench for over 22 years. It all started out back in 2003 with the original R32. Unfortunately, when Volkswagen introduced the Golf R, it kind of became known by enthusiasts as a GTI Plus with all-wheel drive. Now, of course, that all changed when Volkswagen introduced the all-new 8th generation Golf R, introducing a much improved all-wheel drive system and giving us a lot more power underneath the hood. So for 2025, just like the GTI, the Golf R is also getting its first round of updates, and they're pretty significant. We're talking about freshened styling on the outside, an updated interior with a much larger 12.9-inch display, and underneath the hood, Volkswagen has massaged that 2-liter turbo, so it now produces up to 328 horsepower. So as you can see, this week, we're testing out a new trim level of the Golf R. This is a Golf R Black in Mythos Black Metallic, and the big question I want to answer, for those of you who are looking for the hottest quintessential hot hatch, has Volkswagen succeeded in building one with this updated 2025 model? Stay tuned to find out. So before we get into the styling changes that Volkswagen has made this year, I thought I'd pop the hood and remind you guys what's powering this thing. Now, just like the GTI, the Golf R essentially uses the most powerful variant of the company's signature EA888 2-liter turbo engine, and this year it gets an extra 13 horsepower. Now, as you can see underneath the hood, it's not really much to look at. In fact, I actually am really surprised Volkswagen didn't want to put a much more aggressive or prettier looking engine cover over it. It's obviously a transverse mounted engine because this rides on their MQB Evo architecture, but this 2-liter gasoline direct injection turbo 4 has around 22 pounds of boost pressure being stuffed into the engine to produce 328 horsepower and 295 foot-pounds of torque. That output figure is basically the same as the updated Audi S3 that I most recently tested as well, and it also goes out through, of course, the company's 4Motion Haldex all-wheel drive system with a rear torque splitter that also is borrowed from the Audi S3 that allows the vehicle to have like a drift mode. Technically, Volkswagen's offered that since this generation first came out, but they said that they got more power this year courtesy of an ECU retune, and the engine kind of breathes a little bit better. It all goes out through a one-choice only, a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission. Sadly, the 6-speed manual has been dropped because Volkswagen says enough enthusiasts weren't buying the transmission. Fuel economy is rated at 22 in the city and 31 on the highway, about 25 combined. The Golf R does have a slightly bigger gas tank than the GTI at 14.5 gallons. You're looking at around 360 miles of range on a full tank. That is, of course, on premium gas. Now, Volkswagen claims 0 to 60 should be under 5 seconds with this model with the launch control. Top speed is about 155 miles an hour. And because of the all-wheel drive system, this vehicle is heavier than a GTI by about 300 pounds. As it sits, it weighs in at just under 3,500 pounds. Now, closing the hood, which is actually pretty heavy, and as you guys saw, it's also supported by a prop rod as opposed to higher quality struts. Let's go ahead and take a look at the styling. And this is kind of where I think the GTI to me actually looks better. And that's because I like the red accents that Volkswagen puts on the GTI and the grille. The Golf R definitely looks a little bit too understated. It almost looks like a regular Golf, especially when you get it in Mythos Black with the Black Edition package that essentially blacks out the headlights, blacks out the grille. It's just too much black for me. You can also get it in blue or in white. I probably would get either of those colors. You can see all Golf Rs come with Volkswagen's latest IQ Light technology for their full LED headlights. They're also adaptive. They have LED daytime running lights and turn signals. There's also an LED light bar that goes across and a new illuminated Volkswagen logo, which definitely gives it a unique light signature. But you can see the front bumper also has some more aggressive openings with functional air vents. You have parking sensors that are integrated here. No 360 camera though, however, and you can see the R badge is also blacked out. This is kind of where I don't like the black package because the R logo should be blue, and you'll also have a blue line going through the grille, which kind of designates this as a Golf R. But when it's all black like this, it just looks like a regular Golf. So for me personally, I would skip the black package and save myself the $1,500, which is not usually what I would tell people. I usually like it when a car has black accents, but the blue accents on the Golf R really sets it apart and gives it a more unique, aggressive look. Now, moving around to the side profile, the Golf R is only offered as a 4-door, and this is a small vehicle even by hot hatch standards. It has a 103.8-inch wheelbase with a 169-inch overall length. The vehicle is only around 70 inches wide. Something like a Civic Type R is around 3 inches wider than this vehicle. So I actually thought that Volkswagen really should have made this vehicle look a little bit wider and puffed out the fender flares to give it more of an aggressive stance. You can see the wheels thoroughly revised this year. The black package basically rolls in these black finish, these gloss black finish 19-inch wheels, which definitely look pretty good. They're riding on a 235 by 35 R19 Hankook summer performance tires. The brake rotors, I believe, are 14 inches in diameter, clamped down by a 4-piston caliper with the R branding. Again, I would have liked the brake calipers to be blue, just to give it a little bit more contrast. I do like the cross-drilled rotors, of course. The rear rotors are around an inch smaller. You do have adaptive suspension dampers. That's standard. That's typically something you have to pay extra for on like a GTI, for example, to get the Autobahn package. You can see there's also a very subtle R badge here. Mirrors, as you can see, body colored with integrated turn signals, no 360 camera, and then the Golf Rs all come standard with a panoramic sunroof unless you spec in the Euro style package, which will delete the sunroof and you'll have to pay extra for it. You can see there's a little black badge there to let you know this is the black edition model. And then backing away from the vehicle, you can really see it definitely looks better, I think, for me from this angle. I really like the bigger wing that Volkswagen puts on the Golf R, but again, it really could use some more aggressive fender flares to kind of give it a wider stance to it. But the rear wing definitely looks better than the small wing on the GTI. You have a rear wiper that sits on the back of the window. Their windows aren't tinted. This vehicle would look a lot better with tinted windows. The taillights, as you can see, full LED. They are supposed to have like a smoke finish to them, but I don't really see a smoke finish. You can see the Volkswagen logo also is blacked out, same with the R badge there. So again, very subtle changes. The rear bumper also has a pretty aggressive diffuser, and you'll know it's a Golf R from the signature quad outlet exhausts, which are also in black when you get the black edition model. For an extra $3,800, Volkswagen now offers the Akrapovic exhaust that's included with the Euro style package, but this is the standard exhaust, so let's go ahead and fire it up. You can hear how it sounds real quick. And it actually surprised me. The sound is good. It's definitely deeper than the last GTI that I was listening to, and the occasional pops and crackles is also a nice touch. Now, push the Volkswagen logo up and that'll open up the cargo area. There's no power liftgate available, but you get around 19.9 cubic feet of storage space with the seats up, which is a pretty decent amount. You can see underneath here, there is no spare tire. Instead, you just get some underfloor storage. Which is definitely nice to have. If you fold down the seats back here, which you can see there's no release levers, you just kind of have to push on this, push it forward. You can see it creates not a flat floor, but it expands the cargo to around 34.5 cubic feet of space, which is definitely useful, but just keep in mind something like the Honda Civic Type R will offer around 10 more additional cubic feet. So on the outside, Volkswagen made some pretty subtle changes for 2025, but on the inside, this is where you're gonna really notice a big improvement in the technology department. Before we get inside, however, let me show you guys the key fob. As you can see, the Golf R includes Volkswagen's latest intelligent access key. It's actually a pretty nice feeling key that's a good size. It has some good weight to it. It has the R badge here to let you know you've got a special VW product with your typical buttons here for lock. You can also pop open the trunk, but it's not a power liftgate. Unlock, and then there's also a panic function. As you can see, approach the door handle. It's got a traditional door handle here. If you touch that, that'll lock the doors. No power folding mirrors, though. It should really be included at this price point. Touch the back of the door handle. You can see that will unlock the door. VW does not offer an auto walkaway lock or unlock feature. At least my particular test car at least doesn't have it turned on. Looking at the interior, you can see the black interior is really your only color option, with the Titan black interior with the contrast blue stitching and piping, which looks nice. There's also kind of like an interesting carbon fiber look texture in the seats, which looks good. These sport bucket seats also are comfortable, supportive. They adjust in 10 different ways for the driver's side, and you also have 3-person memory. The passenger side only has a power recline. Everything else is a manual adjustment. If you guys don't want this leather, Titan black leather, if you add that Euro style package for $3,700, you'll get the Club Velour combination of like a suede and cloth seat with some contrast stitching. It's a nice looking seat, but it deletes the power function and it deletes the ventilation function. The Golf R is one of the few vehicles in the class that offers cooled seats, so I personally wouldn't want to give it up, especially since you have to pay extra for it. Now, looking at the door panels, you can see it's got a soft touch injection molded plastic. There's some carbon fiber trim here. I don't think this is real. It looks real though, which is nice. Padded armrest here for your elbows, of course. Aluminum accented door handles, some nice carpet material in the door liner. And you also can see hard touch plastic down here. This model also has their Harman Kardon premium stereo if you get tired listening to the engine. The audio system also sounds pretty decent. And you also have alloy sport pedals, which definitely gives it a nice, touch when you first open the door. Now, stepping inside, the Golf R has, I think, under 5 inches of ground clearance, so it has that low hot hatch step-in height. As I get in and shut the door has a pretty solid sounding thunk. The rattle that you heard was annoyingly my garage clicker, so let's see if I can get it to, it still rattles, but it has a pretty solid sounding thunk. The rest of this cabin you can see looks pretty much identical to the GTI. When you want to start the vehicle up, start stop button is right here by the shifter. And you can hear this is not a hybrid or a mild hybrid, so it starts up with a traditional starter noise, and that's with the engine in its comfort setting. If you push it over into its race setting, you can hear there's a noticeable difference. A little more pops and crackles from the exhaust, which is definitely a nice touch. But let's go ahead and talk about the rest of this cabin. First of all, you're hearing an echo in here because this vehicle has like a voice enhancer, and you can go into the audio systems to adjust that by going into the sound settings here. But for some reason, when I go there, it's not letting me do so, so I find that to be a little annoying, so I apologize if there's a little bit of an echo. The car wouldn't let me turn it off, unfortunately. Now, as you can see, the high-quality materials from the door panels carry over onto the dash, where this is all soft touch injection molded plastic, more of that carbon fiber trim. Heads-up display is standard on the Golf R, and you get the 10.25-inch digital cockpit, and you also get the bigger, much bigger 12.9-inch display. Biggest screen in the segment, of course. It has illuminated touch slider controls now. I still don't love the touch sliders, but at least the software behind it is very quick and snappy. It has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You can also go into your drive mode selector there. You can also change the ambient lighting if you want to change the entire instrument panel. You can see it changes everything whenever you start adjusting that. I personally like the custom setting where I have it set to purple. That's one of my favorites. You can see the heated and cooled seats are located in the screen. It's got 3 different levels of heated and cooled seats, which the cooled seat function works pretty well. It's one of the few vehicles in the segment that offers cooled seats. If I push that, that's the home display. As you can see, it's really fast, it's easy to use, and once you kind of get past the learning curve, it's really nice to kind of just go through this menu. You can see there are some vehicle favorites here. If you want to turn the stability control on off, the start stop, of course, the head-up display, reset your trip, your drive mode you can also access here. You can see the Golf R offers a total of 5, technically 6. When you go to the race, it brings up 2 more. So that's definitely unique. There's even a drift mode where this vehicle let the tail hang out. The steering wheel, you can see, nice flat bottom design, perforated leather where you'd have your hands in the 9 and 3 position. Love the paddles, although they're just plastic. They're a good size at least. You can see steering wheel offers a manual tilt telescoping adjustment so it can get a comfortable driving position pretty easily. This vehicle does have adaptive cruise control, automatic emergency braking, blind spot, all that good stuff that you expect, of course, in today's modern cars. And then, unfortunately, there is a lot of piano black plastic here, which I don't like. You've got 2 USB-C charging ports, wireless phone charging pad. This is going to get disgusting after just maybe even like a year or so, unless you keep it clean. This little toggle is your gear selector for the 7-speed dual clutch. Push it forward, all the way forward, it'll go into reverse to give you a backup camera with trajectory. No full 360 camera, not really needed in a vehicle this small, but it would be nice considering the price point. Kick it back down to go into drive or sport. Push the P button to go to park, which is kind of too close to the start stop button, so I find that to be annoying, but if you're an owner, you'll kind of get used to that. Again, more piano black plastic here. Decent sized cup holders, which fold out to reveal the actual cup holder there. Padded center console armrests with additional storage. This is also adjustable, which is a nice touch. The seats, like I mentioned earlier, heated and ventilated, comfortable and supported, but not a full power passenger seat, only on the driver's side. And then you can see the glove box is huge, actually. It's damped, but not lined with felt. So overall, the interior, aside from the new infotainment system, is still very comfortable, easy to use. You still have the annoying touch-sensitive buttons, but the sight lines are nice. Build quality is also good. This definitely feels much nicer on the inside versus all of its rivals, so kind of keep that in mind. This definitely still feels like the luxury-oriented interior. Now, on the roof panel, you can see it's got a woven material, LED map lighting, sunroof with a retractable shade that's manual. This also does open up to vent air as well, which is a nice touch. So in reality, definitely the nicest interior in the segment, but there are still a couple of features missing that I think it should have at this price point, mainly focused around that 360 camera system. But let's go ahead and hop into the back seat area, and let me show you guys just how much room there is back here in case you need to sell this vehicle to your spouse. Now, sadly, the Golf R is on the small side on the outside, which translates to a little bit of a smaller interior. Volkswagen says there's 35 inches of legroom back here. These seats, they don't offer a recline, but they do fold down like I showed you earlier. Material quality does get downgraded back here, so it's hard touch plastic. You do have some more of the leather here, of course. Window controls there, one touch up, down for all fours. That's definitely an unexpected touch. But as I get back here, you can see this is basically my driving position. As I close the door, you can see there's a big hump here for the middle passenger. You do have rear seat air vents, 3-zone climate control, which is rare, and you also have 3-level heated seats back here. So again, a feature you typically don't find in this class. Love the triple storage pockets in each of the front seats. Legroom space is decent. I can get back here and cross my legs, but it's not super comfortable. It feels a little claustrophobic. Seats, as you can see, pretty much the same quality and texture as the front seats, minus not as much blue. And then if you fold this down, you can see there's an armrest with 2 cup holders, and there's also a little bit of a pass-through here. So if you want to do like a ski pass-through, you can do so, which is definitely a nice touch. And then in terms of the headroom space, solid 2-3 inches of headroom, even with the sunroof. So that's definitely pretty nice. But overall, as you can see, some competitors like the Civic Type R are going to offer more space, but this is more spacious versus the GR Corolla. But again, the Subaru WRX does offer more backseat space as well. So if you were looking to buy the hottest quintessential hot hatch, you were looking at this model, the Volkswagen Golf R, tracing its lineage back to the R32 all the way back in 2003. That's over 27 years ago, or I'm sorry, I can't even do math right now. It's 22 years ago, which again, this nameplate has so much history for Volkswagen. In fact, when the company first brought the Golf R, the R32 to the States, it essentially just kind of started out, or the R32 was excellent, then the Golf R kind of just turned into like a slightly more powerful GTI Plus with all-wheel drive. But then when this generation came out, the Mark 8, Volkswagen really wanted to show enthusiasts that they could be serious about giving us a pretty distinct difference between a GTI and a Golf R. I mean, there's a pretty hefty price difference between the two models, but for 2025, we got a nice power increase. So the 2-liter turbo direct injection 4-cylinder is now making 328 horsepower and the same 295 foot-pounds of torque. That's an increase of about 13 horsepower versus the previous, or the pre-refresh model. This is around 87 more horsepower versus a GTI. I just had a chance to drive a GTI for a week, maybe like 3 weeks ago. So that vehicle is still kind of fresh in my mind, but the Golf R basically adds all-wheel drive, but it also takes the performance up to the next level. Now the vehicle does have a start-stop feature. There is no 48-volt mild hybrid, and I find this start-stop to be irritating, but you can easily defeat it by pushing a button in the screen, or you can also change the drive mode into one of its more special modes. Now, a lot of people were complaining because for the GTI, Volkswagen got rid of the touch-sensitive buttons, but on the Golf R, they remain here on the steering wheel. And that's because they wanted to preserve this R button here, this blue button over here that allows you to have quick access to the drive modes, because without it, you have to hit the drive mode selector basically here on the screen, which can be a little bit more annoying. This kind of puts it right at your fingertips. So when I push this button, you can see it brings up the drive modes. I've had it in sport. You can cycle it between eco, comfort, race. There's also a custom mode. Race mode gives you 2 special modes where there's basically drift and then there's special. Drift mode will allow the vehicle's tail to step out, of course, but I think for the majority of people, if you want maximum acceleration, you'll put it into that Nürburgring special drive mode, which automatically puts the engine in its maximum attack mode. My test car is missing the Akrapovic exhaust, so it doesn't have the louder exhaust, but the new exhaust system is also nice. And then to activate the launch control, you have to go into the screen there and turn the stability control into its sports setting. So once you do that and you put it into its special mode, this is where you're gonna get maximum acceleration from this vehicle. And the last Golf R that I tested did it in around 4.1 seconds. The last S3 that I tested, this car's platform mate, did it in around 4.18 seconds. So let's go and see what we can get. We'll activate the launch control. Ooh. 4.55 seconds there. That's with it more going slightly uphill, so we'll try it up ahead on a more level surface, but this time is still plenty fast. I mean, that's the thing about this dual clutch, is it allows you to have that maximum acceleration where, you know, you don't have to deal with a clutch pedal, you don't have to deal with shifting gears. This dual clutch will be faster every time, and you better like it because this is the only transmission that's offered on the Golf R now. The manual transmission is gone this year, just like on the GTI, which is a little sad, but, you know, it does give you even better acceleration, and this dual clutch is one of the best transmissions in the business. It has paddles where you can easily pull the paddles here and listen to the way this thing sounds and the way it accelerates too. Oh, has a little bit of pops. Woo! Such a good transmission, has perfect spacing between each of the gear ratios, and it just puts the engine right in the meat of its power band. This engine has plenty of torque. It loves to rev. In fact, it redlines at around 6,000 RPM, 6,200 RPM, but it'll pull harder than that, which is fantastic. And then, of course, this is the ultimate Golf. The steering is just sublime. It has so much quickness in its responses. The heft is also nice. The feedback is moderate. I feel a little bit of what the front tires are doing, but it just inspires confidence. When you have it in the special mode here, the adaptive dampers also go into their, most stiff setting. But even though they're stiff, the ride quality in this vehicle is not jarring. This is definitely a better ride quality versus the last Subaru WRX or GR Corolla that I tested. Oh! And I actually forgot that I left it in manual mode, and as you guys saw, it doesn't actually shift automatically for you, although I didn't like that slam that it did. So in case you're wondering, if you leave it in manual mode and you forget to shift, it will bang off the limiter, so make sure you're paying attention to what mode that you left it in. But again, this powertrain is just wonderful. It's still one of my favorite powertrain combinations in the business. Let's try our second 0 to 60 run here, see if we can get a slightly faster time. Still in special. Launch control. Oof. Oh. 4.47 seconds there. So sadly, not as fast as the last Audi S3 or the last pre-refreshed Golf R that I tested. I'm kind of wondering why, actually. That's surprising considering the weight's about the same. It's got 13 more horsepower, which Volkswagen says they got from an ECU tune. And because this vehicle does have the, it's got the Haldex all-wheel drive system and that new torque vectoring rear diff, the rear torque splitter, which is basically was first introduced when this generation came out. It's borrowed from the Audi S3, of course. It will send up to 100% of the power to each wheel side to side, but only 50% of the torque can go to the back axle. So it's a wonderful all-wheel drive system. It inspires confidence, yet it's also easy to drive. And then, of course, when you're done driving this thing like you stole it, you can go into its comfort setting here and turn the stability control back on. And this is a really easy car to daily drive. I mean, yes, the Honda Civic Type R is a really fun car as well, but the Golf R just feels incredibly well-rounded. It's a very mature feeling car. When you put into its comfort setting, this settles down into a comfortable commuter car. The seats are also comfortable, supportive. The heat and cooling function works well. It's rare that you can find cooled seats in this class, so it's nice to at least have that feature. My test car also has a power driver's seat that's 10-way adjustable with three-person memory, actually. So really great luxury touches here. I also love the new infotainment system. You can see that 12.9-inch display with their updated software with wireless CarPlay and Android Auto just works extremely well. It's a good size without being overwhelming, and it's also the biggest screen in the segment, which is nice. The fully digital 10.25-inch cluster also looks good. You can also adjust that. I do find the touch-sensitive controls to be irritating when you accidentally hit the heated steering wheel or hit one of the controls here, of course, but I like the paddles. The wheel feels nice in your hands. Visibility out of the Golf R is easy. I can see out of the front, the side, and the rear quite nicely. My test car doesn't have a single squeak and rattle. It feels very tightly built, so that's all adding to that impression of quality that you associate with the Volkswagen brand. The head-up display is also a really nice touch, and again, even though it's a little slower than the pre-refreshed Golf R, 4.4 seconds is still plenty fast, and it's around 1.2 seconds faster than a GTI. I said the GTI doesn't really need all-wheel drive, and you don't. You can still have fun in a GTI, but this definitely gives you even more fun if you're a serious driver. If you want to go to the track, you need the all-wheel drive traction. This essentially takes it up to the next level, so it could be worth it. It just depends on your driving style and needs. Now, the downside with the all-wheel drive and the extra power is the fuel economy has gone down. This is rated at 22 in the city, 31 on the highway, although it's not that much lower on paper. I did notice in my real-world testing, I was struggling to get 20 mpg in city driving. Again, it's probably because I just drive like I stole this thing all the time. On the highway, I did get it up to around 29 mpg, which is not bad, but the GTI got around 5 mpg better in my actual real-world testing. So that's kind of where the all-wheel drive system, the extra 400 pounds of weight, you do notice that, of course, but you also get the benefits of the all-wheel drive. And by the way, if you guys are hearing an echo, I'm definitely hearing an echo, and it's because there's a voice enhancer in this cabin. I believe it's within the sound system, and I tried to turn it off, but it won't let me turn it off. So it just says function is currently not available, but will be available soon. I don't know, but it's kind of irritating me how I keep hearing an echo in here. But I mean, overall, love this car. It's such an easy car to drive. It looks even better this year, although I probably would skip the black edition. I don't like how it's just very dark, although I would consider this with the white or the blue exterior color. The Akrapovic exhaust that you could get with the Euro Stylo package is a pricey $3,800 option. My test car doesn't have it. I don't really think you need it unless you really want to have that Euro style package, and you know, you get the art velour seats, you lose the ventilated seats, of course. But I mean, overall, for the money that Volkswagen asks, I would probably just get the standard Golf R, get it in blue or white, wouldn't get any options in it, and you can get one of these for, you know, about $6,000 more than a comparable GTI. Now, once upon a time, the Volkswagen Golf was actually one of the best-selling models here in America for VW. However, those times are long behind us, and now Volkswagen's best-selling model, of course, is the Tiguan, a compact SUV. In fact, the Golf isn't even offered as a regular Golf in the US ever since this generation came out, so you basically take your pick between either a GTI or a Golf R. The company managed to sell around 15,000 units in the US last year, and around 30% of those units were the Golf R. So after spending the week driving the updated version, I have to say, the hot hatch segment right now, there isn't really a better time to buy. Between this vehicle, the Civic Type R, the GR Corolla, and then of course there's the sedans, the Subaru WRX, TS, and the Hyundai Elantra N. This model here, for me personally, really speaks to me because I love the refinement that Volkswagen gives. And maybe it's just a testament because I'm getting older. You can daily drive this vehicle because it has a comfortable ride quality when you need it to be, but it's also sporty and really aggressive and really agile when you want it to be whenever you switch it into its race drive mode settings. The engine is a wonderful masterpiece. It's very flexible. It has lots of power everywhere in the rev range. It also loves to rev. It sounds good, and the dual clutch transmission is one of the best dual clutches you're going to find in the industry, snapping off 0 to 60 times in the 4.5 seconds all day long. I'm just a little disappointed it's a little slower versus the pre-refresh model that I tested a couple of years ago. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but I imagine people in the aftermarket can easily do another ECU tune. You can easily push the power of this even higher because 22 PSI of boost is really not that much. The Akrapovic exhaust, I've heard it. This model doesn't have it. I think it's a little bit of a pricey option, and to be honest, I don't want to give up my sunroof or my ventilated power seats to get that feature, so I would skip it. Just add an aftermarket exhaust if you guys really want it to be louder. The ride quality, like I mentioned, is good. The look of this car is a little too understated. So again, I would save $1,500 and skip the black package because I really like the blue accents that the Golf R is supposed to come with. Again, when you get this package, it deletes all of that, but you can add the Euro style package on either the base Golf R or the Golf R Black, of course. The upgrades to the interior, big improvement. Love the new software, love the bigger screen. I just really like that update that they made. Still don't love the touch-sensitive buttons on the steering wheel, but I understand why Volkswagen kept it. Again, if you're an owner of this car, you're probably going to get used to it. The interior is a little on the smaller side, and that's because the Golf R is a small vehicle. I'm hoping for the next generation, Volkswagen adds a wider body to this vehicle to give it a little bit more aggression. But again, this is a true quintessential hot hatch because it's not ridiculously wide like some of its competitors. Now, in the past, Volkswagen Golf Rs have always been an expensive proposition. This is certainly still expensive. On paper, the Golf R is $15,000 more expensive than the cheapest GTI. However, you need to look at a GTI Autobahn to match the equipment of the Golf R. So at that point, the price delta is around $6,000, which to me, that seems worth it because you get 87 more horsepower, you get all-wheel drive, you get the upgraded brakes, the upgraded wheels, the upgraded look, the upgraded handling, of course. So at around 47 grand for the base version, it seems like a decent deal. It's a little more expensive, like $1,000 more than a Civic Type R. It's around 5 grand more than a GR Corolla, but again, when you spec in a GR Corolla Premium Plus, or GR Corolla can also approach $50,000. A Subaru WRX is kind of the cheapo in the segment, but it also has less power. But if you want to compare it to a Golf R, you need to buy a TS, which is actually around the same price. The black edition model that I'm showing you here is about $1,500 extra, plus destination. You're looking at an as-tested price of around $49,936. So just under 50 grand, seems like a lot, but remember the Euro style package adds another $3,800. I would skip that. I personally would just get a base Golf R in the blue or the white exterior color, and that's it. There's no other options to add, and you're looking at around 48 grand. That seems like a steal to me because again, it's around 6,000 more versus the GTI that I tested a few weeks ago. And for me, I would like the all-wheel drive, I'd like the additional performance, I would like the additional exclusivity. So as much as I like the GTI only makes sense if you get the lower trims. At the higher trims, you may as well just spring for the Golf R. And again, this is one of my favorite hot hatches. It's always been my favorite, and Volkswagen has kind of made it even better for 2025. But with all that said, hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the brand brand new 2025 Volkswagen Golf R. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Redline_reviews. Like us on Facebook. And as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.